Hey kids, Invertical here. Welcome back to Empyrion. I figured it would be about time to do a little update on the old build here, so here I am, and here's the build. Yeah, okay. So what you're looking at here hasn't really changed a whole lot, except I have done a lot of add-on stuff. That's right. I made entrance tunnels off of all four doors, connected walkways all the way around on the outside, and the first two landing pads. As you can see, I've got one on the 45-degree angle and one on the square. This pattern, of course, will duplicate all the way around the entire facility so that we have ample landing areas. I mean, the whole purpose of this base is a forward, essentially for the mercenaries, it would be a forward space station. It's where our fleet is staged. Our primary combat fleets are going to be staged. It's where we're coming to do repairs on ships. It's where we're coming to do everything except for building the major capital ships. So that's the whole point of this station, and I really want it to look like it was designed for that in mind. The whole listening post, of course, the ring itself was supposed to look like it's some kind of large focused energy weapon, which I'm still going to do a little bit more work on. The interior of the ring I have put in, now this is duplicated on all four sides, so I'll show you only one. I have put in a airlock bay. This would be where you would bring in cargo or extra small ships or whatever, and it would be parked in here. Then you have a center ring that goes around from all the way around the whole thing. I've actually put in angle shutters or ramps so that it can be actually locked up and keep continuity. I will eventually put in sensors so that you come in and this door opens, and then when this door closes, either of these doors open depending on which sensor you trip. It's going to be like a light sensor right across the door here and right across the door here kind of thing. So you trip the light sensor, the door opens, you trip a light sensor or a motion sensor over here or something, and the door closes. Not entirely sure how I'm going to work that. I also need to do something similar to these, set up a sensor hidden in the wall or something, so that, or in the floor, so that when you walk up to one of these ramps, the ramp opens. I mean, the doors work without having sensors on them, which is good and bad. I guess it's annoying and not so annoying. I've then made internal rooms. Again, I did smooth the wall a little bit, although I haven't done anything on the back or on the outside corner. This is still outside bulkhead here. More than likely what's going to end up happening is I'm going to subdivide this into two rooms and have the elevator kind of in the middle. So it's like, here's a room over here and here's a room over here, and then there's like a center part to that room, or it'll be a single wall coming out on the angle, and then both of these will get filled in. Not entirely sure yet, not too worried about it. If you go up the elevator, you have a small, this is literally more of a small access area. I'm thinking I might do is put crew quarters up in here, so each one of these areas has like sleeping quarters for 2 or 3 crew members, or probably 4 or 5 crew members. If you go all the way down, you're into the engineering section of the ship, which is the lower half of the ship. Or station is going to be all engineering. There's going to be a couple more of these small generators, a couple more supplies. The fuel tanks are going to be moved down here, oxygen tanks, and of course the farm, which I have right here right now, will be expanded. Like this farm here is just enough to keep me going. It will get expanded. I'm probably going to double it up in size. Also, a lot of the storage stuffs will be relocated down here, but the constructors and armor lockers and generators and such like that will be moved to the upper deck here. Find a way up here. There we go. Up. And then the center causeway here will be left fairly open. There will be some decorations and such put on walls, some signs, monitors, and that kind of thing. Also, each one of these corners is going to have a specific purpose. Like one's going to be like this will be engineering access, for example, because of the extra large hole in the floor. Another one will be the comm center, which is your control room. Going to be your control room and all your spaces. I'm probably going to have another one that is recreational. It's going to be crew recreation. Another one that's going to be crew medical facility. And then, like I said, each one of these will have a couple of crew quarters directly above them, which would be lived in by the crew that would normally occupy that particular type or space. There will probably also be a couple cargo container boxes stuck against the walls here. These will probably have, the constructors will be actually moved into the hangar bays. The bays themselves are going to get numbered. I'm going to put a large number up on the wall, or a name or a sign or something on each wall, and each hangar bay will be numbered as well. Oops, stepped out of the gravity field. There's where you see these 2 notches in the wall, there's actually going to be gun emplacements in there, but I want to see if I can figure out how to have it so that there's a shutter or something across those gun placements, and that they only shoot other players, not ships or anything else. But we'll see. I mean, it might end up just being that I just have them, here's a gun emplacement and here's a gun emplacement, and as soon as you come close to this door, both guns open up and rip you to ribbons. Either way, whatever works. I do have to put in underneath these decks. As you saw, I had a gravity issue as soon as I got away from the area. Basically, under each of these decks is going to be a gravity generator to expand the gravity field. And I noticed that while the capital ship lands on it, the pads don't seem to identify that the floor is there correctly sometimes, so it'll stop on it, but it won't stop on it clearly. There is no landing pads on this small vessel at this time. I might take this lower fin off, I'm not sure yet, and put one in. But that's kind of where I'm at. That's how far I've gotten along. had one other incident. I went back to the moon because I needed. Well, I went back to the planet, and you saw that when I did the admin video there to get water. I also went to the moon because I was low on warp crystals, and I encountered a capital vessel, which, while I was in the process of setting this up to go cruising around the planet, decided that it would fly and park literally directly right about where I'm sitting right now over this ship, and through the open hangar door completely devastated this this poor little scavenger truck. This is now the second time that it has been blasted quite substantially like this. I might repair it because it's just the it's a harvest box and a couple cargo containers and the generator fuel tanks, and the cockpit and the portable constructor is basically all that was really damaged and destroyed. I had already taken this mining turret off because I didn't need to mine anything on the moon, and I was thinking of putting actually a minigun turret. I will need to put ammo boxes back on here as well because those are gone. So yeah, this thing got blasted pretty substantially. Most of the parts I had to go back to the planet. Like I had to leave the planet, wait for the CV to move away, the patrol vessel to move away, went back to the planet and just slapped these 2 cargo boxes up in the thing and picked up all my gear and basically hightailed it out of there because this ship ran out of ammunition very quickly. I had a couple of these small turrets got torn off the side. As you can see, some of the shielding, the shield paneling that was around them has been removed. I have a cannon turret on the top, and I actually I installed a minigun turret underneath at one point there because that thing was just such a pain in the tuchus. The minigun turret was basically plunking off drones for a while, and I went to the planet and I was plunking off drones. I have the mining laser on the front, which is where it doesn't belong, which is why it sits so poorly. It actually should be sitting down underneath here, but not too worried about it because I don't normally use this for mining. That was more of an emergency thing. But that's kind of where I'm at. I'm going to get back to building. I'll probably cut here and see if I can actually finish laying out the last of these, or a few more of these landing pads. They take a lot longer than it looks like. You don't think it's much, but yeah, it's actually a lot of work putting some of these landing pads together. And then I think the only thing after that is to go over this station. Of course, I'm not sure what I want to do for painting on the outside of this. If I'm just going to leave it exposed battle metal, or if I'm going to change it up for something else, or make it smooth or shiny or what. But the only other thing I have to do is put on decorations and weapons. And do all the fit up inside here and such as well, but that's basically all that's left station wise. And of course, decorations and weapons also includes lighting and such, because I have no lighting in this base. If I turn my headlight off, it's darker than you can believe. So that's where I'm at. Like I said, I'm going to cut here. I will probably pick it up in another 5 or 6 hours after I've gotten a little bit more of these dealies done, and hopefully show you what it looks like with these landing pads actually completed. Although I don't know if they will be textured, because texturing is another headache that I just don't want to get into right now. They might actually be left just raw like this, and get very minimal or minor painting. So don't go away, kids. I'll be right back. Okay, kids, we are back. I have finished the landing pads all the way around the entire station. I still have a lot of little detail-y bits to do, railings and walkways, well, mostly railings and that kind of thing to put on. Essentially, it's just I got to go around each of these pads here and put on railings. I still have to put on some deck structure underneath these. These should have trusses, and there's some concrete conduits and such that I put under there. Something else I wanted to do is I wanted to make something that looks a bit like a navigational thruster, like you would have on a station like this. Of course, you can't install thrusters, so I just this is my first attempt at coming up with something that looks similar to a thruster. I'll be putting one of those on all four directions as well. I'm just going to put some round, basically round glowy bits underneath for where you would have directional thrusters underneath. Also have to do a bunch of decorations, like antennas and such, and again, point defenses and the rest of the defense turrets and such that would be on this base have to get put on. Right now it's just got a handful of flak turrets, more for drone defense than anything. It's not really that substantial of a defense platform or weapons platform, and it's nowhere near the intention. But yeah, let's see, it's been about I don't know, it's almost a full day later from when I recorded and cut the last little bit, so give you an idea of how long it's taken to just get these platforms laid out. All these walkways and these angle pieces and such. Had a lot of problem doing the angles. I can't do bracing underneath with the angles if I have the concrete on low. So if I put the concrete on high, I can't put walkway railings around it. I can do walkway railings around this platform because this platform has the added bonus of 2 layers of walkway, which is set on well, it's just because there's only 1 pixel high, basically it doesn't require any space, but even set on the lowest point on the grid, so that you have a full empty air block above it. You can still attach to the sides because it's square, whereas on the angle it isn't square, it's an angle piece, and you need to have an angle walkway railing that would go on here. Of course, the glass railing angle sticks out either a full half block or, come on, line up. Come on, line up. Yeah, it won't sit on it. If it does sit on it, it sits above it by a full block. This is something that's been a complaint of mine for a long time, is they don't make a way to merge blocks like this. Like the hitbox on this should literally be the width of the thing on the 45-degree angle. The rest of the square should not count. the rest of the cube should not count. Same goes for the hitbox on the half block. These should only count for half of a square, not a full square. So yeah, it would be nice to see them remove the hitboxes so you could have combined block shapes into the same space. I'd also like to see a whole bunch of additional blocks get added to the game. Like, for example, 45-degree pipes, 45-degree angled slope walls, so you can make an angled wall that is sitting at 45 degrees without having to alternate the triangle piece. Little things like that. Lots of little blocks, lots of little decoratives I'd love to see in the game, but just don't exist. But anyhow, that's about it for today on this. I'm going to crank this video out. I'm going to put it up tomorrow. At the time of this recording, it's Monday. Tomorrow will be Tuesday. Tuesday, I am going back to the mercenary homeworld, which I understand was attacked by pirates. I'm going to see what kind of damage they have done, and I'm going to secure the world for the mercenary faction. Again, anybody just coming onto the world will be shot on sight. So if you try to join the mercenary faction and don't talk to me beforehand so that we have something arranged, don't just jump on the world, because you're going to be caught in a death loop and I will have no sympathy for you. After tomorrow, anybody wanting to join the mercenaries between now and when the recruitment program actually goes live will need to talk to me. We'll need to actually review the ways and means video that I did put out, and we'll have to understand exactly what it was that we are doing so that I don't have any more confusion with people coming on and thinking that this is also a free-for-all faction. It isn't. This is a extreme team-based faction. Everything is a team, everything is a group, everything is a whole. There is no just jump on and grab a build project and tootle off and go build it and don't involve anybody else in the faction, and most definitely just, you know, people that just turn it into their own personal build or their own personal base. It's like, no. I love guys that have creativity. I love it when people have excellent building ideas and construction techniques, but we're a faction where our primary resource is strength, it's manpower, it's skill. You know, we're not a faction of guys who hang out and build. The only reason that there's so much building going on is because basically the server just started and everybody's building. But at the same time, we now have factions that are getting involved in wars. We have factions that are getting involved in planet raids. We have factions that are involved in space combat, and we are definitely lagging behind because so many people want to do their own thing. And yeah, that won't be tolerated whatsoever. So that's where we're at. That's where we're going. Next episode, I will be back on planet, and this will be put on hold. This project will be put on hold and left as is. There is weapons, and there is ammunition in it, and there is power in it. And eventually I want this to be the forward relay post for the Mercenaries faction. Basically, our interstellar fighters will be docked here, shuttlecrafts, and eventually also our planet cracker will be based out of this system, and the eventuality build that I want to get done, and that's the base ship. It's basically, it's going to be one giant mobile foundry factory base. It's basically, it shows up and it's designed for establishing a presence in a sector, and that will be basically essentially a complete mobile base. It won't move fast. It'll have enough top speed to hit warp, and essentially that's all it will have. And it will take a half a sector to get up to that speed, so it's not exactly fighter craft, but at the same time you won't want to mess with it because of its just sheer outright size. Those are builds that are all coming up. Really hoping that I have some extra helpers by then. But thanks all for watching, kids. This is Inverted Cow, and I'm going to say good night for now.